Good evening, live from the MLB Players Trust in Phoenix, Arizona. This is Roy Kessel for Sports Philanthropy Network, and we're very excited to have with us tonight Sami Haiman. Sami is going to tell us about her amazing program, and we thank you for taking time out of this great party to come and speak to us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Roy. It's so good to meet you.
So tell us what Urbander does and how you got started with this.
Yes, so we are a communications firm that specializes in helping organizations better engage with their stakeholders and their different audiences. And we've been working with the Players Trust for now, it's going to be a year, supporting them with their engagement with the players, with the funders, with the organizations that they collaborate with. And so our role is more behind the scenes, where we're able to just support, and I love it. I love just being behind the scenes and watching the different organizations shine and really have an impact in the community.
So tell us how you got started in this venture.
So I participated in the Players Classic, the last one, right? And it was fascinating just to learn about all of these organizations that are making a difference through the Players Trust and with the Players Trust. And in that, I just started following up, with the different organizations, and LTI, Language Testing International, is actually a client of mine. And they started a collaboration with Players Trust to create the program Players Exchange. And so I was so fortunate to be able to support with creating videos that were going to be embedded into the programmatic that was going to be shared with the children participating.
So engagement is a sort of a nebulous term, right? People talk about it a lot, but it's really hard. It's not a formula. It's not check boxes, but it's an art, right? You've got to do certain things, but it's really an art of trying to figure out how to get people connected to that message and to that cause. So take us a little bit back through your history and how you got started with this.
Yes, I started communications at the University of Puerto Rico. And so I'm completely bilingual, and with that, I decided, I think I should just head to New York City because it's the media capital of the world, and this was 30 years ago, and my background's in publishing. So I worked with national publications and magazines, and then in 2008, with the recession, I lost my job, like millions of others Americans, and I decided to start my own company, given the fact that I already had a dozen years, right? A little over a decade under my belt already within the realm of communication. And so we're very focused on cultural competency in ensuring that narratives stick and that the stories are compelling. And so you're absolutely right. There's not one specific formula. It's more about really understanding what the goals are and what the missions are of these organizations to then be able to frame it effectively, so that way we can bring in more people to support them.
Well, I think you hit on some really key elements, right? There's going to be 500 people here tonight. The way you need to message them is very different, right? When you're talking about people that are in high school and college, it's a very different type of messaging than when you're talking to senior executives of Fortune 500 companies that you're looking for sponsorship or grants or things from. So when you sit down with an organization, what does that initial process look like?
It really is a listening session, right? We go through a series of questions to really become intimate with the mission of the organization. But in the end, all organizations have 4 primary audiences, right? Internally, their teams that need to be supported and understand what is that message that represents us. So all of the people within the organization are saying the same story together like a choir, right? And then externally, the end consumer or person that's going to be impacted by the program, your collaborators, because we don't work alone, right? We have partners, and the community at large, right? That we need to put the message out, hey, we're here, We're here to support you. We have these programs. Do you want to come and join us and participate? And so it's very, very exciting to be part of, these initiatives. And in the end, what we really are doing is developing trust.
Well, I think trust is such an important word, not because just we're at the MLB Players Trust event, but trust is really the bedrock of developing the relationships with donors, with sponsors, with other stakeholders. They want to see that you're using the resources and the connections that they're providing in a responsible way, and that you're making a meaningful impact in your community. So when you do that listening session, how do you take the leaders of that organization through the process? Give us a few examples.
Yes, so we have a questionnaire where we ask, what's your mission? What are your core values? What is the impact? How do you measure the impact that you're having? Who are your primary audiences? Then we sometimes explore secondary audiences too, because sometimes, we're so hyper-focused on what's in front of us, but we don't realize that we're all interconnected, right? And so we also support them in trying to figure out better ways to communicate that they might not have explored. And then we also ask them what has worked and what has not worked, right? So we don't repeat, right, the same mistakes, but that's our role, is to come in with a fresh set of eyes, with our network also, because we have, a lot of relationships in the corporate sector too, and then come in to really determine what are your goals, what are you looking to accomplish? Is it enrollment, right? Is it participation? Is it fundraising? Is it buy-in from, right, CEOs or your C-level executives or your peers, right? And so we start with the goals in mind and then reverse engineer the communication strategy.
Well, and I think one of the things, as you look around here, right, each of those 4 goals talk to a different audience, different set of stakeholders. And I often see nonprofits using the same communication channels and the same messaging and thinking that that's going to work for everybody, and that doesn't really create a successful model. So how do you, first of all, do people listen? Like, you give them great advice. Sometimes it's harder to get them to listen to that advice.
Yes, but if you sustain it with data, then it's easier, right? And so then we definitely, once we have that listening session, we go back to the drawing board, and then the team gets together informed now by the values and the mission and the impact that these organizations have, by the stakeholders that they've already communicated with, and then identify those that they may have not communicated with, right? And then again, based on their goals and what they're looking to achieve through their communications and engagement initiatives, then we reverse engineer it and create a customized strategy to reach those goals.
So if our audience from Sports Philanthropy Network wants to reach out to you or get connected to you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Oh, through LinkedIn. Urbander through LinkedIn, or Sami Haiman-Marrero. I'm on LinkedIn. And if not, also my phone number is 917-589-4229. One of the things that I think that we bring, in terms of value, is that there's direct communication, right? Because we really want to be intimate with the work and the impact that the organizations are doing.
So you filled out one of our cause cards before. Tell us what your cause was and what you picked here.
Yes, so I put Players Exchange and also the Players Trust. And I said that this is important to me because Players Trust really demonstrates the power of collaboration and showcases or represents what modeling, leadership behavior looks like, right? The give back, in a very genuine heart, like with a lot of heart. And so I think that's what I love the most about working with all of these organizations.
Sami, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out of the party.
Thank you for having me.
And for all of our viewers and listeners, this is Roy Kessel signing off for Sports Philanthropy Network, live from the MLB Players Trust Gala, thanking you and reminding you to live generously.